everybody, I'm Nostradamus. Welcome to Phone Age News, the only place to come to find out the latest doom and gloom that's on the planet. Sorry I've been away for 4 months, but I've had a bit of a rest. But I've been keeping up with things that have been going on, and now I'm back, and that means that the shit is really beginning to hit the fan. So, please stay with me and enjoy the rest of the video. Right, before we get into the shitty gritty, I'll just hope most of you enjoyed the partial solar eclipse the other day. On the spaceweather.com real-time image gallery, you got to go in there and have a little search, and there's some fantastic photos of the event. I couldn't really be bothered about it, but I went out and took a photo anyway. Right then, here we go. We have now entered runaway greenhouse effect, and I'm going to show you why I've come out with that statement, and it's a pretty big statement to come out with. You have the Global Monitoring Laboratory. We're looking at trends in CO2, and what I want to do is look at first we're going to look at the graph to see what it should be doing. Here is the graph showing the seasonal variation of CO2 levels in the atmosphere, and as you can see, it climbs from autumn up to spring and then falls from summer down to autumn. And you see in the middle is talking June, July, it's on its way down, June, July on its way down, June, July, every year it's on the decline. Right, this is because most of the landmass on the planet is in the northern hemisphere, and as the plants and trees come into full leaf and full bloom, they suck up the CO2 in the atmosphere. Normally, we're now almost halfway through June, so it should be declining quite nicely now at the moment. Let's have a look exactly what it's doing. So we go on global, trends in CO2, and we look at recent trend. It shows you what it's been doing for the past few days and for the past few weeks, as I've been observing 4.86, 4.87, 4.88, 4.89. It's not coming down, it's still going up. So it looks like we're never going to see any more dips in the seasonal variation anymore. It's just going to go up and up and up when it should be going down, and when it should be going up, it's going to go really up and up and up and up and up. Oh, I think the oceans have sucked up enough. I think they're saturated now, and I don't think they can absorb any more. You think that's bad? Wait till I show you the methane. Anyone that's watched my previous videos will know that I've been recording the data from the METOP satellites once a week for the methane concentrations at various levels in the atmosphere. When my last laptop packed up, I lost all my data and my projections and everything. But after what I'm about to show you, I think you'll agree with me that those projections that are made are totally meaningless as to what is starting to happen. Well, it's begun. So these are my averages from the 9th of March 2019, when I began my recording the measurements, and these are my averages. and I've done a graph right up to yesterday's numbers. So I've put them into a nice little graph for you. You'll have seen this graph up to about 4 months ago when I last did an update, and this is what's happened since. So we have our seasonal variations where the trend is upwards. We had a bit of a bump there, and then it shot up, and then it shot down, and this is now being reflected in the NOAA reports, and it drops down quite a lot, but now we're seeing it shoot back up again. It's very, very unstable. But when compare it year on year, this is for 931 to 300 millibars in the atmosphere. So this is the lower half of the atmosphere we're looking at here. And we see the blue graph is March 2019 till end of February, and then we've got beginning of March 2020 till the end of February this year, and now we've got from the beginning of March this year up till the present. And as you can see, this is not following the normal pattern of previous years, and it's going through an extreme hike in concentrations at the moment. I've also started calculating an average for the upper half of the atmosphere. Now, I only started collecting the data at 151 millibars just almost 12 months ago on the 27th of June last year. So I haven't quite got a full 12 months of data yet. But what I'm about to show you is absolutely shocking. And I'll show you the graph. This is truly frightening. The sudden dramatic increase over the last couple of weeks is unbelievable. The blue line's the actual averages I've calculated from the satellite data, and the red line is the 3-week average, just to smooth it out. So just think, 12 months ago we was down here at the low point. It wasn't going up. It was in its at one of its low points. So you think now we've got all this to add on to this, and it's probably going to be a hell of a lot worse. A hell of a lot worse. We're in unknown territory now. This is runaway, and there's not a fucking thing we can do about it. We're already at record concentrations, and it doesn't reach its peak until September, October, what have you. We're doomed. Just a quick look at the CAMS surface methane emissions. As you can see, we're starting to see some lighter greens of the Siberian ice shelf as the Arctic sea ice melts away to probably nothing. So, what effect are all these gases having on the atmosphere? Well, I highly recommend, if you don't know about it already, this website on Twitter called Extreme Temperatures Around the World, and it gives many updates throughout the day of extreme heat or indeed extreme cold temperatures around the world. It's fantastic. Lots and lots of up to the minute data. So I highly suggest that you check this website out. I thought this was very interesting as well. This is Scott Duncan. It says Antarctica is ridiculously cold right now. It's deep winter down there with the relentless night, but it is significantly colder than normal. It is so cold, it is having an impact on the global temperature anomaly. And I noticed this myself when I've been checking out Climate Reanalyzer. Here's the latest 2 metre temperature anomaly map. I can never say that word, anomaly. Anyway, you can see the Antarctica minus 5.9 below the 79 to 2000 baseline, and it's dragging the average global world temperature down to what the temperature was 40 bloody years ago. Now we know that's not right, but when you look at the overall global map, you can see we're getting more and more extremes. The heat is not spread out, it's collecting in areas, and other areas are colder than normal. It's like a yin and a yang, and the differences between the highs and the lows is getting greater. The whole atmosphere is becoming more and more unstable, leading to more and more extreme weather events. It's not stopped raining in southern China for months, and they're only just now going into their monsoon season. So I'm watching the Three Gorges Dam with great interest. And western half of America's in severe drought with no end in sight, running out of water. We're talking major crop failures. And India as well, they reckon in 4 to 6 months the whole country's gonna, for 1.3 billion people, going to be suffering from mass starvation in India. So we're going to have some serious global conflicts arising out of the extreme weather this summer, in my opinion. This is a screen grab I did just a couple of days ago when the Antarctic got down to 8.6 degrees below average. But it's warmed up a little bit since. Now on to a different subject altogether. I would like to take this opportunity excuse me, to apologise for the crazy COVID-19 projections I made last year, which would have given Neil Ferguson a run for his money. Now, there was nothing wrong with the way that the Doomatron arrived at the outlandish projections. All projections were based on the information that was being provided at the time by the government. So, if the government's information had been correct at the time, then my graphs would have been more accurate. But I've since come up with some new projections for the pandemic, which I'll show you now. This graph is based on my own observations. I did find this official document quite interesting. It's from Public Contracts Scotland, titled Disaster Victim Identification Shelters. It's dated the 19th of May 2021, and the Scottish Police Authority are looking to purchase shelters for disaster victim identification purposes in the event of a mass fatality incident. Bloody hell, they must think this third wave is going to be a bit bad. Just you wait till just wait till the common cold virus hits everybody that's had the you know what. I think that's what's coming. Can't say too much on here or I'll get my YouTube channel shut down completely. I've just had an orange amber warning on my Facebook for sharing the truth, but I don't go into any more detail on here. So that's enough of that. Let's go on to the next subject. The termination events. Right, I found this article very intriguing and fascinating. It's all about the sun. Something big may be about to happen on the sun. We call it the termination events.
You're all going to die down here.
And it's very, very close to happening. If you've never heard of the termination event, and I've got to admit I haven't, then I'm not alone either. Many researchers have never heard of it either. It's a relatively new idea in solar physics, championed by Macintosh and colleague Bob Lehman of the University of Maryland, Baltimore County. According to the two scientists, across the surface of the sun, when oppositely charged bands collide at the equator, they annihilate or terminate. There's no explosion. This is magnetism, not antimatter. Nevertheless, the termination event is a big deal. It can kickstart the next solar cycle into a higher gear. Ooh. So, basically, what they're saying is, this termination event happens every 10 to 15 years. And if it takes 15 years, as it has done previously, then the following solar cycle is a very weak one. As we know, they're all predicting a solar minimum. We're going to have hardly any sunspots in this coming solar cycle 25. But what they're saying is that it's only been 10 years since the last termination event, and it's actually just about to happen. So it's a very short interval, and what they're saying is we're going to have an extremely big solar maximum in the next few years. There's lots of solar activity and Earth-threatening solar storms and flares hitting us. And they're comparing it back to 1786 and the Maundy minimum and all this. Well, I'd smell a bit of BS in this, to be truthful. How could they measure this back in the 1800s, back in 1700s, 18th century, and they've admitted themselves that it's a relatively new idea in solar physics. So I'll take it with a pinch of salt, but according to this, we're heading for a massive solar cycle. We'll just have to wait and see. Right, I'm done now. I'm out of here. Just want to leave you with this, which symbolises the state of the whole planet at the moment. Please, we all need to share love with one another in this increasingly satanic world that we're in. Thank you all for watching, and hopefully I'll see you all again soon. Peace. Goodbye.